thought to myself this morning, I thought, you really should record the video now in the morning before you're like sweaty and tired and miserable. But I forgot. Well, I didn't forget. I just didn't have time to do it. And then the sirens also come past whenever I want to film. Today I just wanted to analyse sort of what went on yesterday. Obviously there was like a massive thing I didn't see yesterday, which was like loads of people breaking into like Kensington Town Hall or whatever it was, the Kensington Council, and like smashing down the doors and stuff, which was a real bad idea. I mean, it's quite natural when a disaster happens that, you know, civil society, whatever the hell that might be, comes into action to sort of help people out. But from what I could see, that was not helping anybody out, and it certainly wasn't a good example of civil society. Like, think about it this way. If the tragedy had actually happened to a single person rather than a large group, if a single person had suffered like terrifying, abject loss, and they were feeling like really, really sad and upset, and they feel like they wanted justice, I mean, they might say something like, I'm going to go down the council offices and smash the place up, break down the door, I've got to get answers. You would realise that person was in a bit of an upset state because something terrible had happened to them, and you'd tell them to like sit down, you'd make them a cup of tea, give them a hug possibly, and you would say, just sleep on it and see how you feel in the morning. Because you realise that it's a bad thing to do. Like, it's not civil and it's not helpful. In actual fact, like, Kensington Council, or whatever they call it, the Royal Borough of Kensington and Chelsea, they are, in that they are sort of, in a way, legally responsible for what happened. They are actually legally obliged to actually sit down and discuss it and provide sort of what they know and the circumstance. They have to basically answer questions, and they have to be sitting there in order to be asked questions. The same reason Theresa May didn't like mill amongst the people when she went down to the Grenfell Tower is because they worried for her security. It was a security issue because people who are left-wing and radical are termed domestic extremists, and there is no difference in like the statute book that guides what Theresa May does. There is no difference between a radical Islamic extremist or a fundamentalist and a left-wing radical extremist fundamentalist. The security services basically judge it exactly the same. There's a possibility of severe violence, and that's what basically would have happened to Theresa May. And whether you would have liked to have seen that or not, it's besides the point. The point of it is that by attacking the council offices, now the council actually have an excuse to not actually talk to them through, arguing that these people can get violent and all that stuff. So whether it was actually the people who were affected who went down yesterday and stormed the place, or whether it actually was more likely just a massive rambling gang of people who'd been radicalised through social media to do it, the point is it's completely spoiled the chance of them actually having a rational conversation with the council. I'm going to go down to Downing Street. They were there earlier on, like thousands of them baying, like, all barring and mooing at the gates. Just to put a little bit of mythology to rest, I've been reading Twitter and stuff, and on Twitter they're saying things like, well, the Queen, not that I'm a royalist is what they were saying on Twitter, but like the Queen went to see Grenfell Town, she met the people and it was so amazing, and Theresa May, she couldn't even do that simple thing of going to meet the people, and she refused to meet the people. I mean, I went there on foot and I couldn't get anywhere near it. The vast majority of the community are in the surrounding areas, completely taped off. They're not allowed to go anywhere near the place because it's a crime scene. Where the Queen went was a completely secure area in complete lockdown, where they finger-picked a few people from the nice-looking community and like stood them in front of the Queen and let them fucking bow at her feet. I mean, how is that in any way supposed to be a helpful thing? Like, and Theresa May and Jeremy Corbyn, and nobody needs to go there really. It's just like a PR move, and everybody knows the PR move. It's like presidents kissing babies. Of course Jeremy Corbyn needs to go there. He's obliged to go there through basically corporate PR, which runs the Labour Party. And it makes me so upset that it's impossible to convince that many people of just the basic rational philosophies of leadership and how we are governed, and the fucking archetypal crown-based system they've been running here for 800 years. I'm ranting. Should never do a video when I'm like all hot and pissed off. I'm so sorry. It's just that I know that I have to go down and like stare at these people. I'm kind of hoping they're not there. But let's go anyway to hear them moo. They're gone. Oh my god, it's beautiful actually, so they are gone. I mean, there's still evidence of them. I mean, there's still lots of hipsters hanging around at the MOD, you know. It's a great place to hang out if you know about politics and international geo-relations or whatever. MOD is so relaxing as a place to have a picnic. And yeah, the crash barriers here. It's turning almost into my little temporary studio in Whitehall. May must go. Tories out. I mean, what has that got to do with the Grenfell fire? I mean, they say, I did read on Twitter actually that they were like, Grenfell fire, you know, caused by the Tories or whatever, is the Tories' fault. I mean, that wouldn't stand up into. I mean, it's the whole thing is so logical. It doesn't matter that it's illogical. The whole point is like they want to scream Tories out. They're going to use any opportunity to actually do it. And they have people like Owen Jones, if you know that guy, who's like really, really, really popular amongst the, you know, radicalised lefty hipsters at the universities. And basically it's just always the same big crowd that comes down here. I mean, they say, oh, thousands of people going to Downing Street. Oh, thousands of them. It was amazing. No, it's the same people every single time. And like half of them possibly aren't even at voting age or something like that. I mean, there's just lots of people that they come here to do underage drinking and partying and flirting and getting off with each other. That's why they come down here. Just like, it's just because it's central London. The parties that are really cool to go to are basically just like hanging out at Downing Street and shouting at the thing and making your cool signs. But I mean, look, I didn't even see these guys a minute ago, but it's just a perfect thing as a bus coming. Look, they've got beer, like Kronenberg, drinking fucking Kronenberg outside Downing Street, making a nice sign. They think that themselves, they understand the inner workings of the political world. It's just astounding. And it seems horrible to be having a go at them in a way, because like, what's it got to do with me? It's just that, like, whether they're here or they're not here, whether they shout or they're not shout, they don't in any way actually alter the system. It's the same people who are calling for the resignation of David Cameron. And of course David Cameron was never going to go when he was told to go, just like Theresa May's never going to go when she's told to go. It's like really, really insane. I mean, say this was like filled with like 3,000 people, all the people that were here earlier on, and you managed to hush them all up and you stood at the top and you said, look, we're actually going to now take a democratic vote on whether Theresa May actually goes, and just between you and I, this is the vote that's actually going to cause it to happen. Does everybody want to take part? They'll be like, yeah, of course we want to take part. And they would quite happily, between 3,000 of them, determine the fates of several million or 30 million or whatever it is, and they would have no shame doing it. They'd think it was a great social justice victory, but in actual fact they would have completely violated all political and electoral law that's ever been established anywhere, and basically it would have been a face to the very idea of what democracy is supposed to be. And they would quite happily do it because they are the authoritarian left. And if you ask me, I find it just as equally as terrifying if we get Theresa May or if we get Jeremy Corbyn. They're both very, very terrifying people because they are mainstream, successful politicians, and they are there essentially to work on behalf of the banks, to rob us all on a daily basis and undermine the very philosophical principles written down in ancient Greece about whether or not you should be raped in the street, which is what I see Downing Street as. A horrible way to finish a video, but there we go. It's just, this town just needs to grow up, I think, and leave the army